Morning, everybody. How we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. Are you ready for another busy show? I'm pretty sure that's going to be what I'm saying for the next 3 months of my life. It is going to be a madness. We're going to be here this morning speaking about Varane leaving yesterday and all the sort of centre-back news that came out, probably as a direct consequence of it, let's be totally honest. Jarrad Branthwaite reports about a £55 million price that United would be willing to pay for him. We'll speak about that this morning. As a community, we'll speak about Adarabioyo. I've spoken about him yesterday, day before. His name's getting linked now. That Varane is gone. Also, Lenny Yoro. We're going to speak about Bruno Fernandes. Samuel Luckhurst saying one thing and nobody listening. And then David Ornstein coming in saying, nah, man, he's staying. Then we'll also speak about, well, covering all the news from yesterday. The under-18s wasn't a treble, but they've won the Premier League North, the Premier League National Champions, and the Premier League Cup. Didn't win the FA Youth Cup, but that's a real massive achievement from the under-18s. We'll speak about that. We'll speak about, I don't know, the fact that we play Newcastle tonight is busy. I've got an untold amount of tabs open. I've realised why this show is quite popular in the morning now. It is nigh on impossible to keep on top of all of this unless you do as much research as I do. It's crazy. Anyway, who's here for the member gang? Let's have a quick look. Carl, good morning to you from the mods. Carl and Alex, we've got Vicky there as well. Klein, Ant, you're always there. Josh, you're always there. T, I saw you at the start of the show as well. Who's here for the member gang? The member gang is just getting, it's a member gang, it's a member army. It's an absolute army. Finn, we've got Finn and Vin. Blakey, Linton, Cormac, Glenn, Ross, Teresa, Jonathan, Walter. Not Walter White. Oh, man, I need to watch Breaking Bad again at some point. Stephanie, who's on Facebook, because Facebook's working this morning. John Moore, good morning to you. Matt Frost, Mark Barrett, Nick Greenwood. And we've got Stephen Lawrence. Lots of you tuning in. Should be a busy show. Please send in your comments. Send in your questions. I will try and answer as many as I can. I can't answer them all. It's busy. All right. But we'll try and cover everything that we possibly can. And there's only one place I want to start here today. And that is with this. I wonder when the next time we're going to be hearing the first team singing that. Probably a while. Anyway, congratulations to the under-18s. They beat Chelsea in Stamford Bridge. Anybody watch the game? I mean, we should have won more than 2-1. I'll be honest. Ethan Wheatley with a really fine first goal. Proper striker's goal. Ball played through, let the ball go across himself. Left foot back into the other corner. Chelsea equalising around about the 46th minute, and I think it was Ethan Williams who got the winner. And then Ethan Wheatley probably could have had 2, maybe 3 more. It really should have finished like 4-5-1, but it didn't matter. It finished as Manchester United being the winners, and I'm delighted for them. It really is. I've already done a video early this season, a sort of a deep dive into the rebuild of United's academy. Rebuild, or just how Manchester United's academy has been turned around over these last 6-7 years with far better management that started with John Murtough and Nicky Butt and has come through into Nick Cox and just a direction of everything that's going on. So you've got the women's team who have won the FA Cup. I think the women's under-21s won the league. The under-18s won the Premier League North. And I believe that's the first time that we've won the national title. I think so. I think Chelsea have been pretty dominant in it. Chelsea and City. Pardon me. But congratulations to them. I think it's a fantastic achievement. And let's see what goes on. Ethan Wheatley, of course, has made, I think, 3 appearances with the first team. I might do a lunchtime video today, sort of picking out 5 of those players. Obviously, everyone knows about Harry Mass. Everyone knows about Ethan Wheatley because they've both been in and involved with the first team squad. So has Habib Ogunai. I can never say his name. But there's others I like to speak about. Like Finley McAllister is someone I would definitely like to speak about. You can speak about Jacob Devaney. Louis Jackson is another one. There's quite a few. Might do it at lunchtime today. I'll see. But congratulations as well. Separate point. Phil Jones. It'll be nice if Phil Jones can actually have a really successful career in coaching, wouldn't it? I don't think anybody ever questioned Phil Jones's application. Or who was it he played against? Was it, you know, when Phil Jones came back from injury and he was like the best player on the pitch? Was it Wolves at home? I think it was. I don't know whether it was Wolves at home. But it'll be good to see Phil Jones actually go and enjoy himself, because he did not enjoy his playing career. And let's be completely honest. Apparently it was Wolves. Well, a couple of you are saying it was Wolves. I think it was Wolves. I just remember him playing well. Anyway, congratulations to Phil Jones. There's a comment there from Rex. How you doing, man? I'm going to call you Rex now. It's easy in the first. Saying, appreciate the morning show, Sam. It's like therapy these days with how bad the club is run on and off the pitch. Congratulations to the under-18s. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, honestly, I love doing these shows. I really do. I'm not complaining about it. Right? It's a lot of work to get done. That's why I think that's why we've built such a cool community here. And it's going to be crazy over this summer. So I hope you're all along with me for the ride. Right. Let's move on to other things that happened in football last night. The first thing I want to say is this, right? Probably, I would say that's the achievement of the season. Aston Villa qualifying for the Champions League is an incredible achievement. I said last year, Newcastle were that team that everybody expected to fail. Everybody expected, not fail, but we know when they're in the top four, everybody expected Villa to fall out of it. No, geez, I'm getting it all mixed up. Last season, everybody expected Newcastle at some point to drop out of the top four, and they never did. And the same thing has gone for Villa this season. Unai Emery has done an incredible job there. So congratulations to Villa for doing that. Got my mate Connor, who goes to football with, he has an unnecessary disdain towards Villa. So this one isn't for you, Connor. And I think he told me, I think we're on the way back from Liverpool. I think he told me why. I can't remember. Anyway. Sorry, Connor. But this here, right? Honestly, part of me thinks that Son just missed it on purpose. Part of me really, really does. When he went through there, we were all like, hands on it, we go, good. It was such a naff finish. Such a naff finish. And, of course, City just did what City do. They're just inevitable. They wear teams down. They break them down. And end up winning it 2-0. So that's 4 in a row. And the thing is, right, okay, say this. I don't think anybody will get 4 in a row again. I think this is an isolated incident. I honestly do not think it's going to happen again in football. Well, not in football, but in the Premier League. Sorry. I trimmed my nose hair this morning, and my nose is itchy. And I had a kiwi, and my mouth feels really weird. Don't know why. Thought I'd tell you. Anyway, City with their 115 charges. I hope they get what's coming to them. And I hope it happens. I don't know whether it will. All right, you know what? When you got expensive lawyers, even if you're guilty, you find ways to worm out of it. That's why you get expensive lawyers. And it may well end up being that there's an asterisk alongside this City four-peat. But it doesn't change the fact that you lived through it. Really annoying. Really annoying. I've got a lot of ratings, by the way, for the way Postecoglou handled himself throughout this. Because it was a weird situation for Spurs fans, knowing full well that if they win or draw, they would help Arsenal win the title. And Postecoglou was just, he sort of slapped up all the fans, didn't physically slap them up, but he was like, mate, we want to win. We always want to win. And I think you saw him like arguing with a fan after the game. I mean, it is Spursy, but I know that in that situation, well, I wouldn't be that specific situation of playing City, but if there was a point where if Man United were playing Nottingham Forest and we knew that, well, I suppose Nottingham Forest is a terrible example because they would never stop Liverpool winning a title. It's not a nice situation for them to be in. But still, what are you doing, son? That's ridiculous, miss. It was a ridiculous miss. Can't believe it didn't go in. Look at that. Wrapped up all the news in the first 10 minutes of the show. We can dive into all the United news now. If you can, drop a like on the video. Man, my nose is killing me. Manscaped. Oh. Oh. Need to soften your nose trimmer. Right. Let's speak about the news yesterday. Okay. And the video I did on the Exodus, the clear out, which we all have wanted for so long. And it's never truly happened, has it? Last summer was, I think, the closest we got to it. I remember going into that period where obviously De Gea had left and others had left as well. And we reached a point in the window where West Ham came in with a 60 mil bid for Maguire and McTominay. And we were all like, man, imagine what would happen if we didn't even have Maguire this season. I suppose we would have replaced him with Jean-Claire Toibo in the summer. That would have been an acceleration on the overhaul of our centre-backs, which is going to be the main focus of our conversation now. But it genuinely feels like this summer, more than any summer before, the opportunity is there and the likeliness is there because we've got INEOS in charge now. Any other summer, it was living on a prayer. Just fingers crossed that somehow John Murtough and Richard Arnold could actually get it right in the market. And let's be honest, that faith was misplaced. Am I guaranteed that my faith this summer is not misplaced? Absolutely not. But with INEOS, with Ratcliffe, Brailsford, Blanc, Wilcox, we've actually got different people in charge. We've actually got different ambitions at this football club. And I think it started with, well, I suppose you could say it started with Anthony Martial, which is what I said yesterday. But realistically, it's kind of started with Raphael Varane. Because Martial's contract was expiring anyway. Whereas Varane is where we've had the first situation where we've had a choice to make. The choice to just extend or the choice to let him go. Now, you know full well that Ed Woodward would have extended this contract probably about 2 months ago. At least. And Varane will be here next year. But he's not. Varane is leaving. And I already did my Varane reaction video, but you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, I'll play a little bit of it here before he starts playing Premier League footage. I'm just going to get slapped for that.
Cool. Ready? Yeah.
Let's go. To you guys, supporter of Manchester United, it's been an amazing few years to play for this special club and wear that shirt. First time I went to Old Trafford as Man United player was insane. The atmosphere was amazing.
Oh, going to stop that now because I'm going to get slapped down. But Varane is leaving, right? And the only thing that was disappointing about Varane is the fact that his fitness was just never there, right? I think he played probably, I think I read somewhere, he played around about half of the games that he was a Manchester United player for. I think he cost around about 42 mil, Robert. 42 mil, big wages, of course. Varane, I haven't really got a bad word to say against Varane. I really don't. You know, there's certain players that are going to be leaving Manchester United. I'm going to be like, I'd happily walk behind them and just push them quicker towards the exit door. I wouldn't do that with Varane. But it is the right decision for him to leave. And it's these sorts of transfers where we need more of them. We need more exits that's going to split the fan base. We need more exits where there's going to be fans that could argue, No, we should keep him for one more year. No, we should keep him for a bit more. Because those players that you let go at that point, they're going to have some sort of value. I know Varane obviously doesn't come into that category because we lose him on a free transfer. Casemiro does. I don't think anybody's going to really be asking for Victor Lindelof to stay. But Varane is the beginning of what could be a massive shift. And what should be a massive shift in our centre-backs this summer. Alex, you sent a super chat. I'll read a couple of your comments out on Varane, and then we'll move on to the conversations around centre-backs. Alex saying, if United signed Tosin this summer, I want to hear you say his full name. Tosin Adarabioyo. The full name? Oh, no. No chance. Oh, that's full. Whoop. Nope. I didn't read the rest of that super chat. And saying, I always wondered if Varane saw us as simply as a tick box exercise. I wouldn't say anything against his heart or whether he never seemed truly in it. That's some conspiracy theory stuff. Varane and Martinez, quite simply, was the best centre-back partnership we have had at our football club since Rio and Vidic. When they were fit. They had that, what? Was it like 2-3 month period? Can't remember how long it was, but it was easily the best. It was obviously in the build-up to that League Cup final. I don't really have a bad word to say against Varane from a professionalism perspective, from how good he was when he was fit perspective. But truth be told, we signed somebody who was on the way down, who was on the downturn, who wasn't ever going to peak again, and whose best years were behind him. And that's kind of peak Manchester United. We do that so often. We're not, well, I suppose you can argue we are graveyard for players. Gary Neville does that. But it gives us the opportunity. And I think I don't particularly think this one's going to happen. All right. Before I go into this conversation, I don't think this one's going to happen. But this is the sort of shift that we need to do as a football club. Man United could easily have extended Varane for one more year and sort of focus on the priorities elsewhere. But Varane leaving and Man United looking towards Lenny Yoro is it's kind of symbolic of what this club needs to be doing. We need to be shifting away from established, you can call it a Galactico signing if you want, but just the established older elite that already exists and looking towards signing the up-and-coming elite. Now, Lenny Yoro, because Varane has retired from international football, what was it, last year? And Lenny Yoro is going to be coming through. 18-year-old, heavily linked with Real Madrid. And everybody looked at him and went, well, he's definitely going to be going to Real Madrid. And then the reason that people started talking about it was this. I think there's just whispers. Nothing more than whispers, all right? But whispers that Lenny Yoro wouldn't be going to Real Madrid because he obviously, well, at Real Madrid, are you guaranteed to start as an 18-year-old? No, you're not. You're going to be going in there and fighting with, was it Rudiger and who's the other one? Is Nacho? I actually don't know who the two centre-backs are for Real Madrid. But anyway, I personally don't really see Manchester United going after Lenny Yoro. But these are the sorts of signings that we need to be making. Obviously, Aaron Anselmino mentioned by Wayne down there. He's the Boca Juniors centre-back. And you know that whole conversation. The idea that Man United sign Jean-Claire Toibo from Nice. Then we sign Aaron Anselmino from Boca Juniors, and he gets loaned out to Nice, goes there for 1-2 years, and then comes back. Right? I don't personally see Yoro happening, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to hear Manchester United going after him, because these are the sorts of players, the sorts of profiles, the age, the ambition, the up and coming, the fact that however good they are now, in 2, 3, 4 years' time, they're probably going to be a better player. Therefore, no matter what happens, you're going to have a resale value. And that's what Man United have just not done. I showed it in my video yesterday. You have to go back to 2015 for the last summer where United made more than 100 million euros. Not in pounds, 100 million euros. That's crazy. City, of course, has done it in the last 2 summers consecutively. Let me read some of your comments out down here. Actually, I missed some of them on. Let's go back to Varane here quickly, and then I'll speak about him. Justin saying Varane always gave his all. He quit France so he could be fit for United. I don't think everyone in our team puts United above their country. No, I don't particularly think so either. But I think that happens in every club. Do you think Maguire will do a video like this? Don't know. I wonder what Martial will do. I wonder what Martial's going to do tonight. Because this is going to be the last... There will be a lap of honour tonight. I'll speak about the game a little bit later on. But there will be a lap of honour. I'll be interested to see what Martial does. Obviously, Varane will get a great send-off. Did it. And, yeah, I know you're completely right there. And I've said this already. We need floor raisers and we need elite players. We need to make signings at both ends of the spectrum. Floor raisers, maybe like Tosin, who improve your overall squad. And top-level players who take your ceiling higher. Because right now, Man United's ceiling isn't high enough to win the Premier League, nor is the floor of our squad capable of competing in the Premier League. So both of those things need to happen at the same time. The floor goes up and the ceiling goes up, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I don't particularly think that the Lenny Euro stuff is going to go any further, but interested to see what happened yesterday. However, conversations around Jarrad Branthwaite, expect them. Fully expect them. And I don't know whether this is just because the Varane story came out yesterday. Yeah, let's be honest. It probably is, right? But Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail suggesting that Manchester United are prepared to offer 55 million for Branthwaite. Now, what do you think about that? You can let me know in the comments. I'll try and read some of them out. My opinion on Branthwaite is clearly a very good centre-back. Premier League experience, can play on the left-hand side, played on the right-hand side for a year at Eindhoven. He's a very good footballer. And I kind of look at him like, I suppose, how I looked at John Stones when he was at Everton. I think he was a good player, but there's probably more in him. And I think he will become a better player if he moves into an elite team that actually plays elite football. But 55 mil is probably like the absolute max that I think United are going to spend on any individual player this summer. Whether it's a centre-back, a central midfielder, or a striker. I don't think United will pay really over 50 million for a player. So like 55 mil, depending on the payment plans, that's your absolute tops. Do I think, therefore, Branthwaite is the absolute best that we can get in terms of if there's going to be one really expensive signing this summer? Am I going to say that for Jarrad Branthwaite? I'm not sure I would. But it's not me saying that it would be a bad signing. I just think for that level of money and given the amount we're going to be spending this summer, I probably think like if you... I think Steve, who helps me with the research, said this. We were chatting about it yesterday. I think he's kind of fair point. Saying it's probably more likely that Everton sell Onana this summer because Everton need to balance their books, right? June the 30th is the end of the fiscal year. So anybody they sell and they get on the books before June the 30th can affect their PSR positively. And they need it. They've got a points reduction. They need money, right? We all know that. It's probably more likely that they sell Onana this summer, keep Branthwaite. They're in the Premier League next season. Branthwaite's value probably will only just go up again. And next season, he'll only be, what, 22? So probably they're going to hold on to Branthwaite this summer, sell him next summer. And I think with Manchester United, Jean-Claire Toibo just feels obvious. We were after... Remember last summer, right, when the Maguire rumours came out that he was going West Ham? We were linked with 3 players. We were linked with Pavard, Jean-Claire Toibo, and Edmund Tapsoba. Now, since then, Nice had an incredible first half of the season, and Toibo was a massive part of that. Leverkusen have gone the whole bloody season undefeated. So Tapsoba's profile and price has massively gone through the roof. But both of those last summer, Man United were looking to sign. So, you know what I say about our scouting? Sometimes our scouting isn't awful. It's the use of said data. But last summer, we were going to get it right. If Maguire went, we would have got it right. And we would have signed either, or maybe we would have signed Pavard, which Pavard would have been a bit of a weird one. But yeah, 55 mil. I'm going to see what you're saying down here in the comments. Can we give player exchanges? I mean, they happen in FIFA all the time, Football Manager, but swap deals don't really happen anymore, do they? I mean, who would they want from us? Maguire, you could possibly argue Maguire. Lindelof there? Go on then, Lindelof. Yeah. Danny saying Toibo feels nailed on for me. Toibo feels... There's a lot of logic to Toibo, and he'd be cheap compared to other players in that position and experience. We've got the Nice links. Yeah. And he'd be a very good player. And we were linked with him last summer before INEOS even came in. So it's not as if we're just doing it and signing him because he plays for Nice. I think that's the point I was trying to make there. Bremer, I think, isn't 40 mil. I think Bremer's more towards this price, 55, 60 mil. Obviously, that's a Juve centre-back. I thought INEOS had said they want to bring in more homegrown talent at mid-ranges. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think, realistically, I think Everton are probably going to ask for way more than that. I think Everton are going to go 70 mil north for Branthwaite. I think Everton are going to, you know, in the same way that Napoli priced Osimhen out of a move last summer, I think Everton will do the same with Branthwaite this summer. Of course, I might be wrong. Let's be honest. I'm wrong plenty of times, just like everybody else. But I just don't see Man United paying 55 mil for any sort of individual player this summer. And I think if we do, it's just going to be like one. It's going to be like that's your main signing. We're going to be signing more players around the 30 to 40 mil mark. And maybe signing players for free as well. And we mentioned it in yesterday's show. Mentioned it in probably the show before. And lo and behold, the Tosin rumours started yesterday. So sometimes you know what we're talking about. And it really... Manchester United could sign Jean-Claire Toibo, Tosin Adarabioyo, both of them, for probably about 75% of the wages that Varane was on. He was on, what, 300 grand a week? You could easily get both of those for about 100 grand a week. I don't even think you need to give Tosin 100 grand a week. You could probably get him for, well, thereabouts. And Toibo, probably 100 to 150. You got Martinez for around about 120, which I think is a fair reflection. So expect both of those to be thereabouts. Therefore, wages-wise, you could sign both of those and still have leftovers from Varane's wages. And that right there, Varane leaving, Toibo and Adarabioyo coming in, Man United's ceiling. I think Toibo increases the ceiling somewhat because he's that athletic, powerful channel defender who plays in a high line, who can cover space on his own. I think he actually does improve the ceiling. And I might be doing Tosin a disservice, by the way, because he may well be better than I'm giving him credit for. And he may well be. I probably imagine he's a squad signing. And like he's Tosin in and Lindelof out. Varane and Lindelof leaving and Toibo and Tosin coming in. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I'm all on board with that. That is a massively improved situation. There's no point. If we're willing to let Varane go on a free transfer, then we should absolutely be selling Victor Lindelof. I think that's a given. As an absolute given. Because any minutes that Victor Lindelof could get next season, just give that to one of the youth players. Ashley is saying, could you show any videos on Toibo? Well, I can do a little bit better than that, really. Come on. You doubt me. Actually, no, you didn't really doubt me. Come on, people. I was actually quite annoyed about this. Well, I'm not annoyed, but obviously I've done this video. We did this video how long ago? 3 weeks ago now. I think we did it a little bit too early. Frustrated, actually, because this is the first in our series taking a look at players that we could sign this summer. So here is a video which tells you everything you need to know about Jean-Claire Toibo. Let's have a little preview of it here. Can't actually remember what the intro is.
And he's quick. He's been consistently linked with the move to Manchester United.
Jean-Claire Toibo has been linked with a summer move to multiple Premier League clubs, including Spurs and Man United. But how good is he? What is his profile? Does he fit the modern centre-back mould? What are his strengths and weaknesses, his character? How much is he worth? And is he capable of making a step up to the Premier League? You're about to find out. Make sure to subscribe to United People's TV for more in-depth transfer content for this summer transfer. Oh, look at that. You might as well subscribe. You got to listen to that bloke. But anyway, so I've already done a video on Jean-Claire Toibo. And spoiler alert, I think he would be a very good signing. I really do. And I can't almost be surprised if we didn't move for him, if I'm being honest. So it may well be that we get Toibo and Tosin. And you see Varane leave, and I hope Victor Lindelof as well. We'll see. But there is definitely a centre-back overhaul coming at this football club. And we need it. We've needed it for a while. Will it happen? We'll find out. Of course, I might get it wrong again. But I hope I don't. And it feels like this summer with INEOS that things are actually going to change. Now, let's move on to the second half of this show. We're speaking about Bruno. We're speaking about Erik ten Hag. We're speaking about Martinez being in the matchday squad. We're going to run through the starting 11 against Newcastle. So make sure you drop a like on the video. And let's get into it. Right. 1 second there. I should have done this earlier. Damn it. Ah, that's all right. I'll do it next time. Anyway, let's get into it. All right. Bruno. Oh, we do need a gong. Oh, man. JC. Didn't see you there, sneaking in with 10. Sneaky number 10. Who was the sneaky number 10? Rooney wasn't particularly sneaky.
Also in the first half, they played in the same play style as Queen's Park Raisins.
I don't think I ever want to change that one, Queen's Park Raisins. I apologise, by the way, everyone, because I really wanted to get Gary Neville's scream on one of the gongs, and I forgot. So I'm going to do that for tomorrow. But it will be coming. I promise you it will be coming. Bruno, right? Bruno. I've spoken about Bruno at length multiple times and how much I love the bloke. I do. There's so many people that I would get rid of ahead of Bruno Fernandes, and I wouldn't push him out the door. And then you see this Wally. He really is a Wally, man. I remember when was it Sky News? I think it was Sky News. When they asked me to come on to speak about Mason Greenwood, I was like, of all the things you asked me to come on for, you asked me to come on for Mason Greenwood. I was like, oh, great, yeah, brilliant. But I did it, and I spoke about it, and I think Samuel Luckhurst was on the call as well. It's pretty much the only interaction I've had with him, only interaction I hope I will have with him. Luckhurst yesterday, I believe, was reporting that Man United's players don't want to pass to Rasmus Højlund because they don't believe in him. That's what his sources. And then yesterday, United players have doubts Bruno Fernandes will stay next season. Fernandes is open to leaving. Bayern Munich and Inter have shown interest. And then there was discourse all yesterday afternoon around Bruno Fernandes leaving. How much should he go? And we had a conversation here in the show. We were like, I don't think it will happen. And I think we, as a community, you settled on 75 to 100 mil being a price that might get United to the table. And I said, no, north of 100 mil. Anyway, David Ornstein came in from deep. And this is what he reported. And this is somebody that we listened to. Bruno Fernandes is firmly expected to stay at Manchester United. 29-year-old and representatives held a long meeting with United. The club made clear their intention to keep the midfielder, and he expressed desire to remain, provided ambitions are matched. And a little bit more detail on that here. Bruno Fernandes was seeking clarity on United's direction and whether their ambition matches his, to be central to a competitive and successful side under the new sporting setup. Fernandes will want to see evidence of this. However, the sense is all parties came away from the talks feeling his questions were satisfactorily answered. It's a big word. Feeling his questions were answered, and the strong expectation is that he will not be leaving. So David Ornstein pretty much suggesting here, to a certain degree, right, to a certain degree, that Bruno was doing what Rooney did back in the day. You know, when Rooney questioned Manchester United's ambition, fell out with Fergie about it. Fergie then backtracked. Rooney then got a new contract. and that's how he stayed at the club. And I personally fell out with Rooney as a fan for a little while, because actually quite a long time because of that. And then I realised I was wrong, because Rooney was right to do it. But Bruno, to kind of suggest that Bruno's open to leaving, Bruno's heart's not completely in it. Like, Bruno is like the most committed player at the club. The reason he carries so much frustration, this is what Ian Wright was trying to point out in the overlap, was like, mate, the reason he's angry is because he genuinely wants to win. He genuinely feels the only thing he wants to do is win. And the only way you win is by grafting every single game. And if there are other people aren't grafting when you're grafting, if you're at work and you're putting in 100% in your shift, and there's somebody else who's sitting there getting paid the same as you, or maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, doesn't really matter. Somebody who's on your team is not performing and therefore directly affecting your job, you're going to be pissed. You're going to throw your hands up. You're going to be angry. You're going to say, what are you doing? Do your job properly, because you're affecting mine. That's how Bruno plays football a lot of times. He needs other players around him who have that same sort of level of ambition. And I think it's fair that he questions Manchester United. We're about to have the worst season that we've ever had in the Premier League. We've got a new set of owners, right? So this is him just making sure that this is my wavelength. Are you on the same wavelength as me? I don't want him to go anywhere, man. I'd love to see Bruno lift the Premier League title. It would be incredible. I personally don't think it's going to happen in the right time frame. I think we're probably a couple of years away from really true. I'm sure next season we should be. I fucking hope so. We should be significantly better. But we're not going to be going from finishing 8th in our worst ever season to winning our first title since 2013 in one season. And it ain't going to happen. So next season's all about getting competitive again. So therefore, the first realistic chance is going to be the season after, when Bruno's going to be 31. And getting towards, not the end of it, but the way down. I don't think it's going to happen that he will lift the Premier League title, but in a summer where we have so many things to do, the idea that people were trying to entertain getting rid of the creator that we've got, the only creator that we've got, and do everything else, was bonkers. So it's good to hear David Ornstein just sort of like, just nipping that in the bud. Never say never, Sam, we're going to win the league next season. Has any team ever done that? Actually, I think Leicester did it. Didn't Leicester nearly get relegated and then they won the league the next year? I don't think that's ever going to get beaten. Vicky saying, Sam, we may have the worst season, but United has more trophies than Arsenal once again. Shame. Shame for Arsenal. Arsenal are consistently getting better, though, but still can't quite make it. They are going up against 115 reasons why, though. Let's be totally honest. Why go when things are getting better, says JC. It's nonsense. I can understand. Bruno's at that point in his career now where this is his, not his last hurrah, but this next 3 years is where he wants to finish on a high, man. And I think he can get that at Manchester United. And it's good to hear him just putting Samuel Luckhurst in the mud. It just really annoys me, that bloke. Ten Hag speaking about it here. He was already answered that last week. It's clear he's a very important player for us. In all the years, he's been a tremendously important player for United, creating the most chances across the league, so many assists and so many goals. And I've done a video on it. I've done multiple videos on it. I'll continue to speak about it. Drop him into a team which actually controls, which actually dominates, and just let Bruno focus purely on chance creation. Man, his numbers would go through the roof. He's still created the most chances in the Premier League this season, and he's running around like a headless chicken in a man-marking midfield system. Actually build a midfield that works properly, and obviously that comes down to personnel, and it also comes down to coaches and tactics and implementing all of that. But do that, Bruno's numbers would go crazy. Bruno's numbers would go crazy. Yeah, Joe, I agree. Ten Hag has got to get a team playing that way, and it's looking more and more likely that Erik ten Hag is going to be our manager next season, right? It is, and there are problems, there are faults. Yep. You know that. I know that. Everyone knows that. What I want to see next season is some sort of hybrid style between what we saw that was good in season 1, and there were positives in season 2. Not that many. But if you blend what was good in season 1 with what was good in season, because I think there's parts of this best transitional team in the world. I think there's parts of it that can work, but overall the shape's wrong. You need to take the best parts of season 1, the best parts of season 2, and blend it into a game model that I think INEOS will want. Because there's no way, right? Whether it's just these three, whether it's Jason Wilcox, there's no way that they're going to be going, I believe that the game model from season 2 is exactly what we need to be doing. We just need better personnel to do it. All right? We won't change anything. We just need better players. No chance. No chance. They will want a different game model. And I think the game model, I think Ten Hag's capable of coaching it, but the direction has to be clear. Of course, we can speak about all this stuff after the season's finished in more detail. Alex, you sent a super chat. Would you play all the under-18s and plan for the FA Cup final? Let experiment happen. I think that would be slightly unfair on the under-18. Well, remember, they played yesterday. Ethan Wheatley played 90 minutes and he had cramp. I'd be surprised if Ethan Wheatley's even in the squad tonight. And if he is, I doubt we get any minutes because he will be knackered. I play some under-18s, sure, but I wouldn't just throw them in. And, of course, some players need fitness. Martinez, maybe. Anyway, speaking about the transfer window, before we quickly, one last little bit, and then we move on to the final part of the show, and we speak about Newcastle tonight, starting 11, team news, all that jazz. Got these three up here, all right? Jean-Claude Blanc, Dave Brailsford, and Jim Ratcliffe. Okay, and this was reported yesterday in the Daily Mail about the man who's going to be at the heart of Manchester United's summer transfer plans. And they're speaking about Dave Brailsford. Now, on the surface, I look at that and go, I'm not really sure how much I want Dave Brailsford involved in transfers. Like, physically involved in transfers. He was the man who, when he did his audit of Nice, and they got rid of Bob Ratcliffe, who was obviously Jim's brother, and I can't remember who else they got rid of. They sacked the manager too. They sacked the manager? Can't remember. Anyway, they didn't get a sporting director in time, so Dave Brailsford ended up doing it with Ian Moody, who used to work at Crystal Palace. And they ended up signing like Kasper Schmeichel, what's his face, Ross Barkley, Nicolas Pepe, I think. Anyway, they just went for like these expensive old players from the Premier League. It didn't work. It didn't work. But then I go down the article and I read this, and I think this makes total sense. Sources insist that Brailsford's involvement is as a representative of the club's ownership and board, with his particular role in recruitment discussions purely aimed at selling INEOS's long-term vision for the club, rather than any involvement in any thrashing out of the financial side of the deals. So it sounds like Brailsford, you know, in the same way that so far this season, since Brailsford's come in, he's been the one that players have listened to. He's been the one explaining the vision of INEOS. This is where we are. This is where we want to be. This is the road that we take to get there. And these are our new principles. It sounds like that's going to be Brailsford's involvement in transfers. So when a player comes in, and this must have been such a hard sell for Manchester United before. Say we had a sit down with Frankie de Jong, right? I don't know if we did. Well, we obviously had a sit down with his agents because we agreed a fee with Barcelona. But say we had a sit down with Frankie de Jong. Like, who does he sit there and get inspired by? What, he's just going to walk into a room? Because Erik ten Hag wouldn't be involved in those face-to-face conversations. He might have spoken to him over the phone. But what? De Jong's going to sit down with John Murtough and Richard Arnold. And they're going to be the ones that sell him the vision of this incredible football team that he has to be part of. Come on, mate. That's why players join United for money. Because it was very hard to see the vision otherwise. And that's a big part of what needs to change this summer. Good salesman. Not from a business perspective, but setting the vision of this football team. Actually having a 5-year plan. Yeah, Bellingham. I mean, we tried everything with Bellingham, right? We brought Fergie in, we had Cantona in, we had Robson in. We basically rolled out the red carpet. I don't think we did too much wrong with Bellingham, but he made the right choice. Right? Bellingham wouldn't be where he is now in his career if he had joined Manchester United. Let's be totally honest. But I trust, and what we're seeing now is Jim Ratcliffe right there. You've got Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc. Two men that he trusts and has worked with for a long time. Blanc is going to be our interim CEO for the next 2 months. And Brailsford is going to be the man leading the vision in these negotiations. Blanc's going to be the man that hashes out the deals and the numbers. Him and Wilcox. But you can see and understand how it's going to be different this summer. I mean, I hope I'm right. I might be wrong. We'll see. Look, last part of the show, we will speak about Newcastle, and you can get your predictions in the comments below. What do you think about this game tonight? Last home game of the season. We were technically better against Arsenal, but the quality of the football was just... We had nothing going. Without Bruno, we have not created anything in these last 2 games. Surprise, surprise. You take out the most exciting, most creative player that we've got, and then we can't create anything. Wayne asking with a question down there saying, will Martinez start tonight? Well, one thing we know is this. Martinez is going to be back in the squad, which is a huge boost for us for the FA Cup. There's only 1 game left this season. There's 2 games in the way of it. There's only 1 game left this season. So as long as Martinez passed all his fitness tests yesterday, then he'll be in the matchday squad. Posy just saying you had an advert pop up. I never get ads watching the live streams. Somebody made me realise I didn't know you could do it. So I might be showing 1 per live show in an hour, which I think is completely feasible and reasonable. And that extra revenue will be able to go in and help me create more content. So it's all going to be going back into it, just like it has done the whole time. But it's only 30 seconds, so I'm sure you can forgive me. It's an hour-long show, all right? What's your take on Martinez? My opinion is I don't want to see him start. I don't even really want to see him play more than like 15 minutes, if I'm being totally honest. 10, 15 minutes at the end of the game, that's fine by me. Of course, to be in that position, you have to be in a good position in the game, right? If we're losing 2-0, or I don't know, maybe even I just want to see him play 15 minutes. Obviously, Ant, you disagree. I'm not sure that you've ever agreed with anything I've ever said. Ross, you're saying 15 minutes is about right. JC, you're saying, yeah, about 15 minutes. We'll see. All right, we will see. Now, something that was interesting yesterday, I thought it was a really strange, odd question to ask Erik ten Hag, right? He was saying, he was asked whether tonight's game is goodbye for him. He goes, no, it's not really how I see it. It's not the way. It's just, I just found out it's a very odd question. Of course, there will be a lap of honour there tonight. I say a lap of honour. It's basically a lap of dishonour. It's basically going around, just walking around Old Trafford, just apologising. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. Yep, sorry about that game as well. Please forgive me. My bad. That's basically what it's going to be. It's a lap of dishonour. Yeah, it's just a really weird question to pose to Erik ten Hag. Alex, you're asking, that's a fair question. Will ten Hag get the mic again? Yeah, he'll release a diss track on Pep Guardiola. Anyway, of course, a separate little point here yesterday. I honestly think you could make a. I honestly think you could make a starting 11 of managers who had linked with the club. Kieran McKenna yesterday getting linked. Man United are pondering a move. That's basically saying, well, you've got some wafer thin story, but you want to run with it. What word can we use? Ponder? Yeah, cool. That's a good one. Ponder. Kieran McKenna. I mean, if you want to talk about risks, my God, you're talking about the huge risk. Could well work out. But I think it would be safe for Manchester United to see how Kieran McKenna gets on with, hey, look, Vincent Kompany got 100+ points with Burnley last season in the Championship and went straight down. And Burnley had nothing. All right. Kieran McKenna, nothing compares to the Premier League. Incredible achievement from League One to the Championship to the Premier League, yes. But I think he should be staying there, and I think he should be seeing a season out and progressing, and he may well do it. And if he does do it, then, well, let's have a little conversation. But I don't think Kieran McKenna, I don't think that goes any further. Right? In terms of other injury news, Bruno, Rashford, Cambuala, they're not completely ruled out, but there's fitness tests on them. And we need Cambuala to be fit. Because, let's run through our starting 11. All right? Let's go full screen. It's bad boy. I think this was the starting 11 for the Arsenal game, wasn't it? You had McTominay as the link player. What changes would you make, all right, everyone? I'll see if I can squeeze this down there so you can see all the players. Cambuala's there. Mason Mount. Is he injured? I don't even know what Mason Mount is anymore. I don't know what he is. I don't know where he is. What changes are you making to this team? The change that obviously I want to see, pardon me, and dependent on fitness, is this. Man. Just take him out, Eric, man. Whatever the solution is, it's not continuing with Casemiro at centre-back, right? It's not. So whatever the other risk or whatever the other choice is, it has to be made because Casemiro can't start at centre-back. Sure, if you want to play him in the FA Cup final, which I'd rather not see, but if you want to play him in the FA Cup final, just take him out of these last two games. Just let him focus on fitness and away from games, away from the spotlight. But what if Cambuala's not fit? I mean, what do you do then? Answers on a postcard here, right? Well, not really postcard. Probably just as a comment. But if Cambuala's not fit to start this game, who do you start in defence? People are talking about McTominay going centre-back. I mean, maybe. Maybe. You could see this, right? It's a bit of a stretch. I mean, I suppose is it any more of a stretch than playing Casemiro at centre-back? It's kind of a fair point. You could see that. You could see McTominay at centre-back. You could see Ahmad come into the number 10 role. And you could see Anthony go out to the right-hand side. People are saying Amrabat. Nah, man. Amrabat, you need to play midfield. I know you technically could play Amrabat centre-back, but then you're taking somebody out of midfield who actually added an element of control into it. I mean, this could happen. But, man, this team is woo. This team is wafer thin right now. Catherine reception. Could well happen. I don't know, right? I ain't got no idea. I know that McTominay's played there a couple of times for Scotland, all right? Personally, I think that Cambuala will be fit to start this game, and maybe he won't see it. Maybe you'll see it's planned that Cambuala plays 65, 70 minutes and Martinez comes on for the last 20. I mean, that could be seeing as Cambuala came on against Arsenal for the last, 15 or so. Maybe. I don't know. Thin ice, someone's saying down there, Steve? That's made more than thin ice. Like we have cracked through the ice and we are under the ice trying to break back through. That's what the end of this season is. I actually really would quite like to see this though. Made that difficult for myself, didn't I? I'd like to see Ahmad playing in the number 10 role. I just think it just suits him. And if Bruno is out, and I'm going to presume that Bruno is out again, because if there's one player I'm definitely not risking, it's Bruno. So I'm going to play without him. You know what Newcastle are going to do? Newcastle, I actually haven't watched Newcastle recently, but they're banging form. And if they're banging form, then I presume that they're nailing the style that Eddie Howe's got them there with. And that's very aggressive, very energetic, high press, no time to rest on the ball, strong transitions. That's what I would presume Newcastle would be playing like. So we're not going to have much time on the ball. I'm going to see what you're saying down here in the comments. Is Ahmad injured, says Pedro? Well, he clashed knees, and I think he said, after the game, he said, I'm totally fine. So the presumption is that he's okay, but no guarantee of that, I'll be totally honest. 3 at the back, says Nars. Could you... Just threw up. Sorry. Don't be switching to a 3 at the back anytime soon. Nope. Would rather McTominay than Casemiro at centre-back. Bring back Fernando and Vidic 2 games. Jackson on for the last 20 for Cambuela. Martinez for Evans. It could happen. It could happen. But what are your predictions for the game then? I asked them at the start of the little chat here, but I've completely forgot. And I started talking about everything else. What's your prediction for tonight? God's honest truth. I'm not looking forward to it. I can't remember the last game I actually looked forward to. Can't remember. Newcastle absolutely bang in form. Man United, I wouldn't even say we're out of form. It's just Man United's season has just been going down the escalator for a good while. It's not to say it's impossible that we win tonight. Of course it's not. We're United at home. And it'll be good to end the season on a high, go out with a win, but there's a lot of things that would have been nice this season, and pretty much none of them have happened. JC and Ant, you're both saying 3-1 to Newcastle. That would be scarring, wouldn't it? 4-1 says Ross. Well, geez, everyone's happy here. To be fair, I don't blame you. 2-1 United says Finn. He's feeling strong. Craig, you're saying 3-1 United. 2-1 to Newcastle says Ali. DP, you've just put my prediction down there, actually. I'm going to go for a score draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2. Are we really going to score 2 goals in this team? With Garnacho definitely exhausted, with Højlund getting no service and not finishing with any chance that he might have. Yeah, maybe not. I'm going to go for a 2-2. 2 more games left this season, and we can focus on the exodus. We've spoken about a rebuild so often, but we've just kept building on sand. It feels like finally we've actually got foundations. INEOS have given us foundations. And it feels like this summer we're actually going to be building bricks rather than just a wafer-thin house that we have done before. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. These shows are going for an hour every day now. My running time I want to try and do is 45 minutes. But I never get there because there's so many things that we need to speak about. I'm pretty sure I covered it all. I'll be here after the game tomorrow. You know that. I'll be here after the game. Well, I'll be live in the morning tomorrow. I'll be here after the game tonight with my match reaction. I might do a video on the under-18s for lunchtime, or I might just give myself a couple of hours off and focus on planning. We'll see. But thank you all for tuning in. If you can, please drop a like on the video. And yeah, I'll see you after we lose tonight. No, draw. Maybe win. Maybe.